Magnum PI watch reproduction round 2. Well, not exactly, as Magnum never had an all black Chronosport, but yes, this is the new version of the extremely and ridiculously popular Momentum Sea Quartz 30 from 2023, which I originally reviewed close to a year ago in February 2023. So here we are a year later, and now there is an all black solar quartz version of this watch, and I had them send along a rubber NATO style strap and the just released all black Jubilee style bracelet, as I never got to check out the bracelet last year. Pricing is about the same for this watch. This one comes in at just about $329 for the bracelet version, cheaper if you go for the strap options. And of course, it's all black, and I just have a thing for black watches these days. So let's take a look at the Momentum SQ30 Eclipse. Since I did review the stainless steel original version in full detail, this video will be a little bit shorter, but if you want to know all about the history of the Sea Quartz, the original Chronosport, and more, click in the upper right hand corner or head to the description, as I will leave a link to that video there as well. Let's talk about how crazy popular this Momentum Sea Quartz 30 has been since its release last year. They have sold out countless times on pre order all last year, and it really wasn't until the latter part of last year that they were able to keep these watches in stock. And I guess part of that is just the nostalgia of the original Chronosport, and of course, these watches are pretty affordable, all things considered. And well, this design, which I talked about in the last video, has been used by a lot of brands in the past, such as Heuer and CWC, the latter who still makes these watches today. And in the past year, since I reviewed the Momentum, another brand has come out with a Monin style case, or well, I should say a Monin case, as that is who manufactured them, the HGP watch company out of France. Now, unfortunately, I have not been able to review any of those as my emails have gone unanswered, and so I haven't been able to see them in person, and thus I can't really comment on them. With the exception of, I do like the look, especially the quartz version, and they do make automatics of these style watches, something Momentum hasn't done yet. So here we have this all black quartz version, the SQ30 Eclipse. And it's important to note this is not just a black coated watch with the solar movement. The dial is different as well, with the dial not having any Arabic numerals and a little bit more text on the dial than the original. I have to say, I love the look of this model in all black, but like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm just in a phase, or whatever you want to call it, of really liking black coated watches. So let's talk about this black coating. It's listed as black ion plating, and if you look up black ion plating and PVD, it's the same thing. Now, I'm not sure exactly what was used to coat these watches, but I believe this was lightly blasted first because the entire case, bezel, and this bracelet is completely matte black, and the original S30 had a brushed finish with polished sides. I will say the bracelet is not coated as I would want it to be, and as you can see, the links were not coated individually before assembly, something I've noticed especially with multi-link bracelets like this. I'll get back to the bracelet and the NATO rubber here shortly, but I did say this isn't just the S30 with the black coating, and it's not. The dial is different, as it's a large triangle at 12 and rectangular markers instead of the markers and the Arabic 12369 dial on the previous model. The day date display is still here, but Momentum did decide to make the text on the dial a little more wordy than the original, as it was a fairly clean dial on the S30. Here, the full model name is printed out, as well as the water resistance and solar. Okay, so the bracelet is a standard 5-link bracelet with a nice sturdy button clasp and flip lock, and you get these 6 micro adjust holes. As with a lot of watches these days, there is no dive extension on the clasp. Links are removed via friction pins, and it does have quick release pins for tool-less insertion and removal. I will say though, the quick release pins, or more specifically the way you have to attach the end links, well, it might as well have standard pins. You can't insert the end link from the top, it needs to go from underneath, and you need to put it in the lugs like you would end links with a standard pin, and you're going to need to undo the clasp as well. So it's not that quick, really. I like the look of it on the bracelet, and I find the bracelet to be comfortable on my 7.5 inch or 19.05 centimeter wrist, and I like it a lot more than I thought I would, as the watch was sent to me on the rubber Nato-style strap, as the bracelets weren't available yet. While I won't be switching to NATO style straps anytime soon, nor will I probably be looking for a rubber NATO to put on other watches, I do like this strap a lot. It's a two-piece construction, it has a nice solid buckle, and though it is a pretty much standard NATO, but in rubber, it feels like a regular strap while on my wrist. I'm still just not in love with how it looks. All personal preference, of course. My two biggest issues with the original S30 from Momentum were the lume and the bezel. Neither of these things were what I consider deal breakers, especially considering the original went for what, like $200 on pre order. But I did find the bezel to be a little cheap feeling in its action, and it had that weird up and down play when pressing on the bezel. Unfortunately, this did not get rectified in the past year, and it's still present on this black solar model. The lume I do feel is improved though. The original had almost what looked like maybe like a vintage color lume on the dial and bezel insert. It might have just been the tinge of the lume, or maybe just how it looked through the crystal. On this, it definitely is green, and the green color you associate with C3 Superluminova. The bezel lume is still going to fade out before the dial and hands, but overall I found the lume to be stronger and longer lasting on this version, at least on the example that I have in hand. And lastly, the movement, and this is a Seiko Epson solar quartz movement, and when fully charged can run for 6 months in pitch black darkness. I will leave a link below in the description where Momentum details how and the length of time to charge the solar quartz models, but basically, as long as this watch is getting some light source every day, you should be good to go, and there is a low charge warning as well. All in all, I think I like this all black SQ30 Eclipse better than the original S30. But again, I just have a thing for all black watches, especially matte black dive watches such as this. At the current pricing, this is only about $35 more than the stainless S30, which on the bracelet is $295 and this one is $329. Whether that extra $35 is worth it is up to you, but I really dig this all black model. One thing I thought about when I saw this all black model is the Digi Chronosport that Sylvester Stallone wore in Rambo 3. It has the same case as this model, still in 42 millimeters as well, but it had a push button to operate the digital portion. Obviously, the digital portion can be upgraded from 1988 technology, but who would be down if Momentum came out with a newer version of that model? Let me know down in the comments, and let me know what you think of this SQ30 Eclipse. As usual, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, share this video, and give us a follow on social media. More watch reviews are coming soon, but for now, this is Don Evans from Watch Report. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.